Dear Diary, my name is Sam Beckett. The details of my job are unimportant, just like me, but the hours can be quite long. I live in a boring, plain apartment, since it's the only place I can afford. I know I'll never get married in this condition, but I don't really care for romance, or even for friendship in most cases. No, I'm doing just fine on my own. Or at least I would be. Unfortunately, the stress of my career has become quite a nuisance, and it has even started to give me nightmares. Therefore, I've decided to confide in this cheap brick of leather and paper. I must be going mad to think that this will help, but I can't see any other options. Dear Diary, something quite tragic happened today. A madman stormed into the local mall and killed everyone on sight. I was there, and he very nearly gunned me down as well. The details of my escape, however, were quite bizarre. I had gotten little sleep the night before, and I'd decided to take the day off. I was in a massage chair at the mall, and I had just fallen asleep. I dreamt of the mall, of myself sitting in that chair. The mall was on fire. The walls were ablaze, and flames coated the ground. Sections of the roof had fallen in. The flames licked at me, but they didn't burn me any. In fact, I seemed to be sitting in the middle of a ring, surrounded by fire yet untouched. A woman stood across from me. She faced the other way, but I could see that she was very plainly dressed, like some medieval peasant. Her long, golden hair flipped over her shoulder as she spun around. Her face. It was as beautiful as a sunset. How I longed to see her face again. I was transfixed by her beauty. She strode up to me and whispered a single word. Run. I snapped awake, and I had thought it to be another nightmare. I leaned back and closed my eyes, but I heard some noise, a gentle tapping at the back of my mind. I realized that they were gunshots coming from the other side of the mall, and I ran out to my car. Without that woman in my dream to wake me, I surely would have been killed. I spoke to a friend of mine, a man named Angelo Giuseppe. He suggested that I had a guardian angel. He grew up in the Vatican and currently serves as a priest, so he often attributes such things to his faith. Still, I can't seem to think of any other explanation. So, if you can hear me, my guardian angel, know that you have my thanks. Dear Diary, I've been seeing the woman from the mall a lot more often now. Every time my dreams begin to have a darker turn, she will appear. Even her presence is oddly soothing, and my dreams never bother me when she stands at my side. Dear Diary, today I was hospitalized. It was a normal day, and I was going about my business when I drove by a church. I instinctively stopped my car and looked over at it, and a deep hatred rose from within me. I stared at that church, wishing to burn it to the ground and slaughter all of the people inside. I snapped out of it after a moment. I didn't go to church, but I had no hate for the institution before, and I still couldn't think of a reason to despise them now. I went on and thought no more of it. Perhaps I subconsciously recognized something from my nightmares. I carried on through my workday as usual, until it was nearly time to leave. I thought as to what I might like for dinner, and began to daydream of steak, fish, and other delicious meals. Then, my computer screen blacked out. I snapped out of my dream and gasped. I hadn't touched the power button. I hadn't even leaned near it. A chill ran down my spine. An unseen mouth breathed cold, wet air past my ear, and began to whisper. I strained to discern the voice, but couldn't recognize any words. Looking at the blackened computer screen, I saw not my reflection, but the face of my guardian angel. I woke up in the hospital late that night. An IV pump was hooked to my arm. Angelo was sleeping on a nearby couch. A doctor came in and explained that I had passed out and that Angelo had called an ambulance, staying with me the whole time. I was deficient in almost every vital nutrient, but there was no reason for this to occur. Apart from my dreams, I was perfectly healthy and had nothing in my life that could change that. I'm beginning to suspect that my guardian angel might not be as benign as I once thought. Dear Diary, referring to my previous entry, I was wrong about the angel. She bears me no ill will and wouldn't hurt me for anything. She protects me in my dreams, and I sleep like a baby. As my nightmares worsen, she steps in more and keeps me from waking up. No matter what beasts lurk in my darkest thoughts, she is always there to beat them away and lead me through the jungle of terrors. I have taken to drawing pictures of her and putting them up around my house. I feel so safe now that I know she is always watching. Dear Diary, today I went to a concert. I had been calling sick and burning through my vacation days to stay at home and draw more pictures of my angel. Angelo came by this morning. He asked about why I had left, and I told him about the pictures. He invited me to a concert, and I accepted as he already had a spare ticket. However, I did keep a picture of my angel in my coat pocket, in case I fell asleep during the show. I am still happy that I did, for otherwise I might not have survived. The curtain raised, but the band didn't come out. Instead, a large procession of men in scarlet robes came forth. Gold crosses hung from their necks. They tore up the floorboards of the stage's edge and piled them in the center. One of them brought forth a torch and set the pile on fire. 2 more came from backstage, dragging a woman by her arms. They pulled her head up, revealing her to be my angel. One of them spoke to her in a quiet voice. I could not hear what he said, but she responded by spitting in his face. He turned away and barked an order to the other men, who began to walk toward her, only to disappear. The 2 who held her vanished, along with the leader. Now unsupported, she fell to the ground. The fire intensified behind her, and she began to float above the stage. A large cartwheel appeared behind her, hovering in the sky. She screamed desperately and snarled like a wild animal as her limbs were shattered and threaded through the spokes of the giant wheel. I woke up. Everyone around me was screaming and running out of the auditorium. The singer of the band was dead. His bones were broken, and he had been threaded through a lighting rig above the stage. One of the bars had snapped, piercing his neck and spilling his blood onto stage and audience alike. I stood up and tensed my legs to run, but I noticed something strange. The picture of my angel had fallen out of my pocket. So this was the cause of it. My nightmares were starting to bleed into reality, and my angel couldn't stop it, as she was not with me. I ran out of the concert hall, down the street, and all the way back to my apartment. If my dreams could do this, I had to stay in my home with my angel. She would block out my dreams. She would keep the world safe from me. Dear Diary, my angel has kept me safe and others safe from me, just as she promised. I owe her my life, and that is exactly what I must give her. I know that she needs to watch me at all times. I must give her eyes. My eyes, if I can find no other. Dear Diary, I have been mortally wounded. I can feel my life slipping away as I write this, but I am not sad, for my angel is with me. She gave me eyes with which to see a great mural on my living room wall. I have littered the other walls, and even the floors, with sketches of her, but they pale in comparison to the masterpiece that she has created through my hands. A beautiful thing, a scene of her perishing upon the breaking wheel. The foul heretics from the church had gathered around her and punished her for her beauty on that day. Witchcraft, they called it. Ha! They claimed to worship God, yet they couldn't see her with their own eyes. The churchman, Angelo, came by. He tried to trick me. He said that he wanted to help me. I saw through his lies. He carried the cross, betraying him to be no better than the rest of his kind. He wanted to put me on a wheel, just like his kind did to my angel. He wanted to watch me suffer as I died. Then he committed the ultimate sin. He began to tear apart the sketches of my angel. I couldn't allow this. I crept into the kitchen and came back with a large knife. The churchman saw what I was doing and struck first. He grabbed my hands and forced the knife into my belly. It wouldn't have been too bad, except I tried to redirect it and pierced my heart from below. I knew I had to keep the knife in to mitigate bleeding if I was going to survive, but my angel was beside me, willing me to follow through on this. I ripped the knife out and lunged at him with all the fury and might of my angel's wrath. By the time I was finished, he was barely recognizable as human. I licked his blood off the ground as a sign of appreciation, then walked over to the mural. I've been here writing ever since, but I haven't got much longer. I can feel the cold breath on my neck again, and I fully understand the whispers now. I shan't record them here, for such knowledge was never meant for mankind. I'm looking up at the mural now. She's smiling back at me. I know what I must do. Farewell. Dear reader, yes, you, who looks upon this story now, do you feel safe? Surely you feel at ease, just like I did when she was around. I know that you are at least somewhere familiar. I also know that you feel wide awake and believe that you are simply reading a book. A fallacy. You are already dreaming, and I have taken hold of you. Nothing can save you now. My name is Sam Beckett. I used to live a quiet life. Now you know how that life was stolen from me, if only because I wanted you to know. This is exactly the same way that I am going to kill you. I do not hate you, no more than a hunter hates his prey when he delivers the killing blow. I don't even want to kill you, but I must. If I do not kill you, I myself will wither away. So it comes that one of us must die. I wrote this diary so that I would have someone to confide in. Now I know that the best way to tell you my story was to share with you my raw, unadulterated experience. I hope it has prepared you sufficiently for what's to come. I won't be nearly as brutal as my guardian angel was, but your death will still be quite unpleasant. In order to prepare you, I must first break your mind and destroy any glimmer of sanity you still have left. Enjoy the time you have left. I'll be seeing you soon. Hello everyone, Johnny Doberman here. I hope you all enjoyed listening to this story as much as I enjoyed reading it for you. Fun fact, this was actually the first story I ever wrote, well, that I was particularly proud of, and it was the first story I recorded on this channel for you. You can find the original recording in my old videos playlist, which is just a collection of videos I made before I got good at making videos. And, yeah, you can also check out some of my newer stuff. It's pretty good. And I will see you on the next one. Okay.